Hey guys, thanks so much for watching the Chen Dynasty. It's Mikexingchen. Chinese history has been shaped by emperors, scholars, philosophers, and of course on the battlefield. Stories of unstoppable warriors and brilliant military strategies have been passed down through the ages. Legendary tales of masterful generals who were able to overcome insurmountable odds to achieve victory. And in this video, we're going to talk about some of them. So here are some of the most feared and brilliant generals in Chinese history. Some of these general strategies are so great, they are even being utilized today. First up, we have Sun Tzu. The Art of War is not just a terrible Wesley Snipes movie, it is a book of military strategies that are still applied and taught by the militaries today. These strategies were all created by a man named Sun Tzu from the Zhou dynasty back in the 6th century. During that time, China was at an age of great conflict and uncertainty as 7 warring states fought for survival and control. Sun Tzu was a military general and a Taoist philosopher. His approach to warfare is kind of different than most other people because he does not put force at the center. Because Sun Tzu was convinced that victory and defeat are fundamentally psychological states. His goal was always to force the enemy's leadership and society from a state of harmony into chaos. Sun Tzu wrote the legendary book Art of War after his many victories and realized that it was important to help others see his view on how to strategically fight in battle. This book contains the complete philosophy of how to defeat one's opponent and has helped military generals and theorists throughout Chinese history. Sun Tzu's book was so powerful that almost all famous generals in history cited it, like Qin Shi Huang and Japan's Oda Nobunaga. What's interesting about this book is that Sun Tzu also incorporated Taoism as the central principle. He describes the warfare strategies as peaceful and passive, favoring silence over speech. The art of war is also utilized in non-military settings. For example, in today's world, Sun Tzu's book has also influenced the business world as it deals with competition due to the fast-paced and dynamic environments. Also, you can utilize Sun Tzu's art of war on the battlefield of love. So get that book and make sure you always have the upper hand in your relationship. Okay, I'm just kidding. Don't do that. That's just horrible. Next up, we have Han Xin. Han Xin was one of Chinese history's most outstanding military strategists. He is most famous for helping the Emperor Liu Bang take power and usher in the 400-year-long reign of one of China's most glorious dynasties. And yet, it is a story from Han Xin's youth that is most often recounted as a lesson in tolerance. Han Xin was orphaned at a young age, leaving him poor and with little to eat. Seeing how hungry the boy was, a woman in his hometown fed him for several weeks. This left a deep impression on Han Xin. Not everyone in the town was so warm-hearted. Although he was poor, Han Xin loved to practice martial arts, and like most Chinese people who practiced martial arts back then, he often carried a sword with him. One day, as Han Xin was walking down the street, he encountered another young man outside a local butcher shop. The bully sneered at him and told Han Xin, "If you're not afraid of dying, I dare you to cut off my head. If you're too afraid, then crawl between my legs." Han Xin knew that killing this bully would mean that he would be executed himself, but to crawl between his legs would mean public humiliation of the worst kind. Han Xin thought about it and then slowly knelt down and began to crawl between the man's legs. The crowd exploded with laughter and ridiculed Han Xin, but Han Xin's mind was focused on more important issues. This famous story generated the phrase 韩信受辱于胯下. This phrase is used to inspire forbearance and to encourage everyone to always look at the bigger picture. Now, by the end of the Qing dynasty, China has fallen into chaos and several states were vying for control. Han Xin approached Xiang Yu, the conqueror, the ruler of the most powerful of the warring states, offering to serve him as general. Xiang Yu rebuffed Han Xin's talents, giving him only a low-level job. Refusing to give up, Han Xin turned instead to Liu Bang, ruler of the much weaker Han Kingdom, offering his assistance. Again, Han Xin was granted a lowly position of managing supplies. Han Xin was frustrated and wanted to leave, but an advisor close to Liu Bang asked him to forbear a while longer. Finally, with the help of this advisor, Liu Bang finally believed in Han Xin's abilities and appointed him as his leading general. Han Xin then devised a brilliant, comprehensive military strategy, which resulted in the capture of the Wei, Zhao, Yan, and the Qi kingdoms. With Han Xin's help, Liu Bang's forces emerged victorious, and he became the first emperor of a new dynasty, the Han. In spite of being one of the empire's biggest stars, Han Xin did not forget the people of his hometown. And so, after being appointed king of Chu, Chu, he went back for a visit. He sought out the woman who had shared her food with him so many years before. Han Xin gave her over 200 pounds of gold to repay her kindness. Han Xin then sought out the man who had made him crawl between his legs. As soon as the man recognized Han Xin, he of course became terrified and begged for forgiveness. Han Xin had a heart of great forbearance, so rather than seeking revenge by killing the guy, Han Xin decided to give him a chance and appointed him a lieutenant in charge of security in the capital of Chu. But as brilliant and loyal as Han Xin was, over time Liu Bang and his queen became suspicious and jealous of Han Xin. The queen then framed him for plotting a rebellion, and Han Xin was led into a trap and killed along with his relatives. The remainder of his clan was later wiped out as well. The next general we're going to talk about is actually a family of generals, the Yang clan. I talked about the female Yang clan members in a previous video, so now let's get to the guys. Over 1,000 years ago, the Northern Song dynasty was constantly invaded and ruled by a corrupt and lackluster court, teetering on the edge of destruction. But one loyal family had both the courage and the prowess to lead the fight and keep the dynasty alive. Starting in the 10th century, generation after generation of the Yang family risked everything to defend the Middle Kingdom. The family has since been synonymous with unwavering loyalty. Its legacy recorded in a collection of stories known as Generals of the Yang clan or Yang Jiajiang. The family's first famous warrior was Yang Ye, a former Northern Han dynasty general. After the Northern Han surrendered to the Song, he tirelessly went to war to save the Yang dynasty's borders from the Khitan, who were incessantly invading from the north. Dreaded by his enemies, Yang Ye was nicknamed the Peerless Yang Wudi for his fearlessness in battle. His greatest moment came at the strategic Great Wall portal known as Yanmen Pass, when he won a critical battle against the Khitan, who outnumbered him by many folds. After that, Yang Ye quickly became one of the emperor's favorite generals. This prompted, of course, jealousy from other generals, and one of Yang Ye's compatriots, Pan Mei, eventually abandoned him on the battlefield. Completely overpowered this time, Yang Ye was captured and starved to death. Yang Ye had 8 sons, and perhaps the most outstanding was Yang Yanzhao. As valiant as his father, he was also very skilled at the art of war. Over a 20-year period, he managed to secure the Song dynasty's borders. Even the Khitan, who saw Yang Yanzhao as their biggest enemy and respectfully called him Yang the Sixth. Along with the rest of his family, Yang Yanzhao fought for his country until his death at the age of 57. And finally, perhaps the most famous general in Chinese history, Yue Fei. Yue Fei is one of China's most celebrated generals. Born at the end of the Northern Song dynasty, Yue Fei was known not only for his military successes, but also for his high ethical standards. In Chinese lore, Yue Fei is an enduring symbol of loyalty. As Yue Fei was coming of age, China was invaded from the north by the Jurchens, and the imperial court was in desperate need of capable warriors. Yue Fei faced a dilemma. On the one hand, he wanted to battle the invaders and defend his country, but on the other hand, he also wanted to stay home and take care of his elderly mother. Torn between competing Chinese virtues of loyalty and filial piety, he did not know what to do. To encourage him, his mother asked him to take off his shirt. She then tattooed 4 Chinese characters on his back, 精忠报国, which meant serve the country loyally. Now able to fulfill both his mother's wish and his duty to the country, Yue Fei promptly went off to battle. Yue Fei was a brilliant military strategist and was undefeated in battle. Once with only 500 men, he defeated 100,000 Jurchen soldiers, forcing them to flee. Yue Fei also cared deeply for his men. If they fell ill, he would personally administer medicine to them. If they died in battle, he would help their families. When receiving rewards from the imperial court, he always shared the wealth with his fellow soldiers. But like a lot of great generals, Yue Fei's accomplishments prompted jealousy among several officials close to the emperor, who talked him into believing that far from the capital, Yue Fei might become too powerful and dangerous. Eventually, Yue Fei was stripped of his power, and a year later, a magistrate named Qin Hui sentenced him to death on trumped-up charges. Yue Fei was only 39 years old at the time. So there you go, guys. Those are some of the most brilliant, feared generals in Chinese history. And I mentioned this many times in my previous videos, but I want to say it again because it's the holiday season coming up. You got Christmas, New Year's, and Chinese New Year's. If you want to get an awesome gift for your friends, your family, or even for yourself, I definitely recommend this performance called Shen Yun Performing Arts. Because if you like these videos, that probably means that you love Chinese culture, you love Chinese histories, legends, myths, and all this is performed live for you when you go see Shen Yun. Shen Yun is a music and dance company, and they have a new show, brand new show every single year. And basically they tell awesome Chinese myths and legends and historical stories through the use of classical Chinese dance. Again, guys, like I said before, I'm not affiliated with them. I'm not being paid to say this. I just really enjoy that cultural performance, and I think you will as well. That's why I want to share with you guys. So all that information, if you want to take a look, is in my description box. And if you've been before, let me know how you like it. All right, guys, thank you all so much for watching this video. See ya.